and boom goes the dynamite.
And welcome back to, once again, my hair does not work, the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show. This is Daily Dive. I'm your host, Michael Carvelis, as always. Thank you for tuning in on Daily Dive Lax on our social medias and YouTube. If you are here, do like, share, and subscribe, and comment if you want as well. 55 people already have subscribed. And while you're here, click the link tree in our bio. I'll give you time to do that now so you can go to the Our Store tab. It's the best way to support our show. Trust me, it helps us out a lot. Go to the link tree, click the Our Store tab. Remember, new logo means new merchandise. That's a big deal. So check it out. December 1st, 2023, that's this year. In just 13 days, we'll have new merchandise. Remember, more announcements coming next week. You don't want to miss what we have in store for this season. I'll tell you what, man, right before the show started, there was this bright, I keep my window, curtain open for the show so I can have, pretty eyes, I guess, during the show. It was blinding me for a moment. I'm glad that went away. That's South Georgia weather for you. It is November 17th, 2023. The time is currently 1:03 here in Georgia. Alrighty, on today's show, we're going to get into Week 1 opening money lines. What is DraftKings Sportsbook? Who are they looking at? And I've got 3 games that I'm very interested in the value of. We'll also talk about the updated futures of everything. We'll get to the NLL top 10 transition players according to coaches and GMs as part of the NLL top 50. And we'll get into Mike's best. And of course, Rochester Knighthawks preview and where myself and producer Joe have them on the list. But first, let's get into this. Week 1 money lines. Lord have mercy, they're here. Now, granted, there's no spreads. There's no totals. That's kind of frustrating. But we are inching closer to the pivotal moment where we can help you guys make mucho dinero on lacrosse, okay? So, there are 3 games that I am looking at that DraftKings has that I thought were very intriguing in terms of value and just head-scratching in general. Now, remember, I will preface my comments once again by saying this. I am not a betting expert, nor am I technically an NLL expert, even though I'm the only one that does a Monday through Friday show. But I've told you guys that before, so I just want to preface my comments. But the Saskatchewan Rush will play the Halifax Thunderbirds. I believe that's the first game of the season. I want to check that real quick. I think it is. It is. It's Friday at 7 Eastern on December 1st, okay? So right after you order some new merchandise, this thing will be up. The Rush are a plus 180 underdog. Wow. I know the Rush got rid of Mark Matthews, but Robert Church just scored 50 goals last season, correct? They added Patrick Dodds, who was really good for Panther City. If they have any hint of a goalie, they should be okay, especially against the Thunderbirds team that I think is middle of the pack. Now, we have not teased this Thunderbirds team yet or previewed them. Personally, I have Saskatchewan at 12. Producer Joe has them at number 10, both missing the playoffs. But do I think plus 180 is great value? Absolutely, even if it's on the road. The Rush already play the Toronto Rock very well in their preseason game, and that to me matters. I don't care they're not being as physical or as fast. That means the playing field is still about the same because both teams are taking a foot off the gas. And the fact the Rush rested their stars in the second half shows me this Rush team is capable of surprising even myself. But almost 2-1 as underdogs is brutal in week 1. That's worth just taking $5 on just to say, hey, I make $10 because these people are idiots. Albany Firewolves in Las Vegas Deader Dogs, they are the bottom of the barrel. I will fully disclose this and tease this now and just unveil this. Albany, Las Vegas are the worst teams in the league. Now, you could argue that Albany's a little bit better because they have the great goalie in Doug Jamieson. And you could argue because I believe Vegas is the tallest team in the NLL. I believe if you look on NLLstats.com, that's Graham Perot's website. You should check out the height thing that he's added, to compare the teams. I believe the Dogs are the tallest team out there, so that was interesting as of last season. But Albany, like I said, their goaltending is going to keep them in some games with Doug Jamieson, who I think is a top 5 goalie, as I already mentioned. But it's minus 110 and minus 120. So a toss-up between the two possible worst teams in the league. Also, Philadelphia Wings and the New York Riptide. Again, two teams that we have not discussed, previewed on the show, but I will fully disclose this. I think Philadelphia is a much better team than the Riptide. I don't care what the Riptide did in the offseason. I don't care if Jeff Teat is the second coming of Jesus Christ, even though I haven't seen it myself. I would just like to know why the Riptide are minus 110 and the Wings are minus 120. Again, it's disrespectful to the Wings, who, as soon as they added Mitch Jones last year, were insane. And if you got a question about their goaltending, Zach Higgins wasn't bad. Their second option for goalie, Deacon Knott, who just won the freaking Minto Cup. He's not a bad player. He's a very capable goalie if Zach Higgins is struggling, if you will. They've got a stacked team over there in Philadelphia. I'm shocked that they are only minus 10 higher. Like minus 120 to minus 110, where's the value in that? If you think the Riptide are going to win that game, you should be getting plus money. That should not be minus 110. That's way too much stock put in Jeff Teat. Now, part of these money lines I want to get to are the futures. Remember, I already had a futures preview earlier this week. Well, now, folks, they caught on. I'm sorry if you missed it, you missed it. Officially, according to DraftKings Sportsbook, the Buffalo Bandits are now the favorites, but not by much. There's still some value there. They're plus 600. The Seals are now plus 650. Remember, on FanDuel, it was like the Seals were on top, but now as people realize, okay, there's value there, the sports books are slightly turning. Again, 600 to 650 is not much, but believe me, there's still some value there if the Seals are that close. Because remember, the Seals gagged in the playoffs last season, and I really believe the Bandits might run it back this year. I haven't made my predictions yet, but I'm just saying. Other interesting lines that we see, Rochester and Vegas have the same odds. Again, Rochester Knighthawks, who made the playoffs last season with Connor Fields, and when Ron Hartley is on it, they're not a bad team at all. And the fact you get the same 25-1 odds as the Desert Dogs, who might be the worst team in the league this year, holy smokes. You might just fire $5 or $10 on Rochester just because. Again, it's your money. Use it when you need it. What is that? Get your title back with Title Max or Cash Pawn or JG Wentworth. It's your money. Use it. Okay, whatever. You get it. The point is, I'm shocked it's 25-1 for the Rochester Knighthawks. I just am. I don't care how much you know about lacrosse. If you look at last season alone, I'm not saying last season is this season, but last season does matter a little bit in these conversations. And Rochester made the playoffs. Vegas came nowhere near, and they're the exact same odds. Do the math for me. I bet you can't. Next up, the Riptide have the same odds as the Roughnecks. I don't care if Kurt Malosky took his whole family over, and he probably did, obviously, to Vancouver. I don't care if Kurt Malosky bought some stock in Vancouver. There's no way the Calgary Roughnecks, with reigning league MVP Christian Delbianco, Zach Currier and crew, are the same odds as Jeff Teat, who had 97 turnovers. They missed the playoffs. Well, who'd they add? The Riptide are not going to be that much better. I'm telling you, 12-1 for Calgary. It's almost like you're waiting. There's no way the Riptide should be right there. There's no way. I don't care what you think about Jeff Teat. I don't care if you think Jeff Teat has some golden diamond thing that he can just do to people to make them better. No way they're as good as Calgary. No way. And also the Georgia Swarm, 16-1. That's still low to me. But again, I'll say it again, my best odds are the Rochester Knighthawks at 25-1, and the Georgia Swarm are 16-1. Like, just throw $5. But not on the Bandits, obviously, because now they're kind of catching on. The Bandits might be the best team in the NLL. What do we know? That's it. Again, the opening lines for week 1 are up on DraftKings Sportsbook. I believe there's other places as well. Shout out to producer Joe for getting that information for me and telling me that was a thing, because I would not have checked it this morning. I was like, there's no way they've uploaded, but now they have. You're welcome. Okay, when I come back, the NLL has been releasing their top 50 list, and I'm just not a fan of it so far. I like the idea, but we'll talk about who they named the best transition player, and I was honestly shocked by the coaches and GMs. We'll be right back to Daily Dive. Don't go anywhere. I know you won't. Producer Joe is so correct. It's my money and I want it now. Call J.G. Wentworth. You get it. So that was the reference I was making in the last segment. And it's one of those commercials where you're surprised everyone sees it. Because the number's 877, but you're like, this looks like a local commercial, right? But it's almost too catchy to be a local commercial. And he's in Buffalo. I'm in Georgia, so he knows that slogan. Also, I remember if you know Barry McCockner on Twitter, that dude uses that generic doctor face from the addiction help hotline or whatever. I thought that was a local commercial, and it was not. So just interesting stuff, I'll say. But yeah, we're talking lacrosse here on the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show. This is Daily Dive on Friday, November 17th, 2023. Happy Friday to you all. It is 1:14 here in Georgia. Glad you could join us, even if you're sneaking it. I don't recommend that, but thank you for taking time out of your day and your work schedule to do such a thing. Follow Daily Dive Lax on social media while you're here watching on Twitter, YouTube, you name it. And when you're there, why don't you go and take some time real quick before we get into our next thought to go to the link tree in our bio and click the Our Store tab and shop the best in our merchandise. It's the best way to support our show, I promise you. Give me money. I'm kidding. All right. Next up, the NLL, as part of its top 50 thing, has unveiled its top 10 transition players. And dare I say, I was a bit concerned with the coaches and GMs' lacrosse knowledge. I'll be honest. Now, last season, Challen Rogers, if I have the numbers correct in my head, it was 20 goals and 29 assists. And I think Zach Currier had 15 goals and 20 assists or something like that, or 15 goals and 18 assists, I think it was. So there was, sure, Challen Rogers had more points. But a tweet I had when I found out who was first on this list was this right here. Challen Rogers, as a transition player, has only 85 loose balls compared to 139 for Zach Currier. Zach Currier has won back-to-back Transition Player of the Year awards. For some reason, coaches and GMs in the National Lacrosse League believe, Challen's the best. And so I made this point. Of the clear best at their position players in the National Lacrosse League, I think you got Jake Withers at faceoff and Zach Currier at transition. I think there's an argument for Christian Del Bianco, Nick Rose, and Matt Vince. I think for forwards, you could argue Jeff Teat or Dane Smith, even though I think Dane Smith is miles better, but there's no conversation about that. I don't think there's an argument for best faceoff player and best transition player of the year. And until I saw this poll, I'm like, whoa, what do I know here at Daily Dive, the only Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show? I don't know anything. Third on the list was Ian McKay after Challen at 1 and Zach Currier at 2. Fourth was Brian Cole of the Swarm. Fifth was Colton Watkinson. Sixth was Shane Simpson. Josh Medeiros at 7. Brad Gillies at 8. Colin Armstrong at 9. And Reed Bowering at 10. Again, I like Ian McKay at 3 if that helps you guys. If you want to put Challen at 2, go ahead. I I think Challen's offense is being overrated right now. I know transition, like you kind of have to score on the break, but if you have like almost like half the loose balls as the guy behind you, what exactly are you doing in transition besides getting past the ball? I feel like scooping up the loose ball is a thing in transition. And again, this is my third full year watching the NLL, my second year doing a show. I know a lot, but it's like I don't know a lot at the same time. So please enlighten me why Challen Rogers, from a lacrosse perspective, is the best transition player. I would like to know. Again, it's not a knock on Challen Rogers. It's more like I feel like Zach Courier is just the guy. Like when I watch these games, Zach Courier stands out. I think Rogers stands out as well, but I feel like Zach Courier, like when you mention the stars on the Roughnecks, Zach Courier, Christian Delbianco, other guy, I forgot. But anyways, and then when you mention the stars on the Rock, it's like Tom Schreiber, Nick Rose, and then like Challen Rogers is in like the tier 2 of that conversation. It's not a knock on him, it's just the reality of the facts. So I don't understand, again, how Zach Courier can be at number 2 in anybody's transition list. I just don't know. Again, back-to-back awards, and you get almost twice the loose balls. It rubs me wrong. It really does. But it's whatever. Okay, so when I come back, by the way, I'm going to talk about the Rochester Knighthawks and what they did in the offseason and where myself and producer Joe ranked them in terms of playoffs. We're going to show the blind graphic as it continues to be unveiled. But first, another segment of Mike's Best here on Daily Dive. This one's from yesterday's show regarding the second question I asked Brett Fruit at the press conference I got to join. Of ESPN and Disney in general. So that's an issue, and I think he knows that. So I love that he mentioned that as well. I got from this that they have the league has a good head on its shoulders. And when I say head, I mean anywhere from the commissioner to the executive VP, the social media team. It really seems like they're doing a good job, and the league is in a very bright place. For years, this league has been stagnant, and there's been some growth here and there, but it wasn't really growth. Or is it just like you go up to the little marking on the wall and you say, hey, I grew half an inch. I think we're doing a little bit more growth spurts than just half an inch now. Before it might have been half an inch. Now it's kind of like, oh, wow, look, I've grown 2 inches since the last time we checked this thing. We're growing 2 inches at a time, and that matters. Welcome back to the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show. It is Daily Dive. I'm your host, Michael Carvelis. As always, we are live here on Friday, November 17th, 2023. The time is currently 1:21 p.m. here in Georgia, home of the Swarm, even though I live 4 hours away. And again, that's a story. When I went to that game on the way back, is a different conversation for another day. My car sucks, but whatever. I had a great time. But we were home with the Swarm regardless. Head to Daily Dive Lax on social media and or YouTube while you're here and click the link tree in our bios. There you will see the Fanatics affiliate link. When you click that and shop NLL gear for this season, it helps us out tremendously when you make a purchase. And you can buy stuff from every league like the NBA, the NHL, the MLB, the NFL. All those leagues are there, college, NASCAR, etc. But when you go there, be sure to click the Fanatics affiliate link at the link tree in our bios, and that helps us out a bunch when you make a purchase. Again, I really hope they upload those new things soon, because I know Bar Down Lax has their stuff updated. So, like, what is the deal with Fanatics and the NLL? I could have sworn there was some partnership there, And so I'm hoping it could be rather soon, because I don't know the new Rush logo on the website, even though its name is not Horny, it's Rowdy, but whatever. It's just a logo, not the mascot. I'll be okay. All right. So far in today's show, we talked about the week 1 money lines and how it's weird that the Rush are almost 2-1 underdogs against the Thunderbirds. We talked about how the Bandits are now the number 1 team in terms of favorites in the NLL, according to DraftKings Sportsbook. We talked about how the top 10 transition players, according to coaches and GMs, on the NLL top 50 list, Chow Rogers beat out Zach Currier, and I was just not having it. In our Mike's Best segment, I got to ask Brett Fruit 2 questions yesterday in the press conference. You can see it on the NLL YouTube channel. It was fantastic that I got to be there. I've got numerous support people telling me, hey, good job, great to see that hard work paying off, and I love you guys. My Mike's Best, though, was the press conference made me feel really good. Brett Fruit, not only is he well-spoken, but he seems to have like a lot of good plans. And I think Kurt Hunziker is a very big part of this as well. I love that the Canadians are involved with helping the teams out as well, even though they gave us their AHL affiliate rink and not the NHL, but whatever. I really felt confident that the league knew what it was doing. And that's something that we have not had, I feel like, in a long time. As a person who never knew what the NLL was, except for a few YouTube videos, I thought the league was extinct. Someone asked me, hey, do a live show. I'm like, okay, why not? I'm like, oh, the league's pretty good. It's still here. Just no one talked about it. So I love the NLL's doing this. And I love that the press conference, they seem like they had a really good head on their shoulders. Okay. Rochester Knighthawks season preview. Let's get it rolling, okay? Now, they re-signed Ryan Smith, re-signed Riley Hutchcraft, re-signed Dan Coates, and they signed Thomas McConvey, Ethan O'Connor, Connor Farrell. Hello, PLL fans. Welcome to the show. They dealt Holden Cotoni, big blow, to Philadelphia Wings. They dealt Thomas Hogarth to Calgary. So again, 2 big blows. They acquired, however, Hunter Lemieux from the Wings, Dan Lamosse from New York, Kyle Waters from Calgary. I feel like they're not going to be as bad as people think. They released Carter Schott on November 1st, and they lost Paul Dawson to Colorado, even though he's like 70 years old. Okay. Are you ready for the graphic? Are you ready to put your money where your mouth is? Boom. On this graphic, I'll zoom in a little bit. Joe's list is on the left. Mine is on the right. We have now unveiled 4 teams on our blind graphic, and this is the first installment of the blind graphic. You're welcome. I do what I can. Joe has Rochester at number 3. I am so proud of producer Joe for doing that. I have them at number 6. Now, other teams that we have listed so far, how are you guys feeling in the comments about this? On social media, I'll post this as well. I kind of like our list so far. I like that there's a little bit of disparity, because while we unveil these things, you'll see there's a few teams we do disagree on. And Rochester number 3 is a bit of a reach for me, but I do think they're a playoff team once again. I think even though the unified standings is going to have a factor this season, I think Rochester again, if Rylan Hartley can play in an 18-game season the best he can, like if he could be, like it reminds me of Anthony Davis. If the guy could just be good every night, they'd be really good. Because they already have Connor freaking Fields. Is Connor Fields, this is the thing that I want to know. Connor Fields' injury concerns me. I want to look this up on Twitter to make sure that we're not missing anything here, but I have not heard anything about Connor Fields being out for the entire season. So let's check it out. And I did not know he followed the Daily Dive on Twitter. That's freaking awesome. I love seeing that. Made my day just now. Let's see. I don't see any. I just don't see any Connor Field stuff. Yeah, no. There's nothing from Connor Fields that makes me that makes me see he's injured for the entire season. I know he was hurt in the PLL. I know he was injured for that championship game, and they still won it with the Archers and Brett Dobson and Tom Schreiber. I'm shocked that the NLL odds again have them at 25-1 when I have them as a playoff team. Like, remember, they've got the Desert Dogs at the same odds on DraftKings Sportsbook as the Rochester Knighthawks. That still blows my brains, okay? My brain explodes every time I hear that. Like, I don't care how much you don't know lacrosse. That is a travesty. It's blasphemy. It's whatever. I can't believe it. I think Rochester's going to surprise some people. Check out the laxmag.com, which is where I get these transactions from. Again, Thomas McConvey, Ethan O'Connor. They got Stephen Keogh. I didn't realize the Stephen Keogh thing. They got Stephen Keogh on a 1-year deal on September 25th. See, there you go. They're not going to be as bad as you think. I got him a 6. Joe's reaching with a 3. Here's Joe. This you, producer Joe? Reaching for something that's not there? I don't know. Maybe they do go to top 3. But yeah, we both think they make the playoffs. 25-1. Are you kidding me? You kidding me? This has been another fun show, and I do appreciate you guys for joining us once again here on Daily Dive. It is a blast. We have got some pretty stinking cool announcements, if I do say so myself, coming up next week and beyond. You do not want to miss what we have in store. If you don't believe me, sure, go ahead. Be one of those guys. But just know you want to believe me. New logo December 1st, as you know. Remember to like, follow, comment, subscribe, share. I want to make sure I'm doing all these right. Retweet, repost. I give up. There's so much things you can do now. Elon screwed everything up when he made Twitter as X, whatever. It's been a great day. For everyone that watches the show, you are the bread, you are the butter, you are the toast, you are the jelly of my peanut butter. For everyone that's behind the scenes, you're very important. We love you. Thanks for giving us credibility. For producer Joe, my man, I'm your host, Michael Carvelis. For all of those people, humbly saying, have a great rest of your day and weekend. We'll see you next Monday. Same time, same place. Bye.